Hello, this is Emma, and I am going to show you how to use DocAppender, an add-on for Google Forms, to do peer evaluations. Okay, the first thing you're going to need to do is create an assignment in your Google Classroom. I'm going to be using an example of an assignment I actually did with my students, but for you, you'd click the plus sign, you'd create an assignment, and probably title it, whatever the name of the presentation is, plus the word feedback. The only thing you need to include in this assignment at this point is a blank Google Doc. So you can create one real quick in your Google Drive and title it, and it can be completely blank, or you could just give the actual doc a title like feedback. Then in the assignment, you're going to want to attach that from your Google Drive. And it should come up as the first thing because it was the most recent. Here's the key. You need to make sure that you select the option to make a copy for each student. It's not only going to give a copy of this to each student, but it'll also attach their name to that copy, and that will be really important later. I used DocAppender a few weeks ago for a how-to video that we presented, and I also included a scale at the bottom to show the students that their feedback was going to be rated on a 1 to 5 scale. So I'll use this as an example as well. Go ahead and pause this video while you create your Google assignment. All right, welcome back. At this point, you should have your Google Classroom assignment with a blank Google Doc. Step 2 is going to be to create your Google form. So you'll do this in your Drive just like you've done before. Create new, form. And then the thing to keep in mind in your Google form is that the only question that you need to have is a question about the student or student's name. So in your Google form, once it loads, there it goes. You want this to be a multiple choice question or a checkbox question, but leave it blank. DocAppender will fill it in for you. So then after that, the rest of the questions are up to you. Here's the one that I used for this how-to video feedback that we did. I have multiple choice questions. I have questions that run along a scale. And then I also have a short answer feedback. So any type of question, it's up to you based on your assignment. Go ahead and pause this video again as you make your Google form. The next step will be to add DocAppender to your add-ons. From your Google form, in the top right, you'll see this little puzzle piece. Those are your add-ons. I already have DocAppender installed, so what it would look like for you is to connect your add-ons. It'll give you a kind of search tool that looks like this, and you're going to search for DocAppender, DocAppender, and then you would connect it here. Once you do that, from that puzzle piece, you should be able to select DocAppender and open in sidebar. Pause your video, and once you've completed this step, we'll go to the next. Once you have DocAppender open in your sidebar, the first thing you need to do is you need to upload all those Google Docs you just created for your assignment. So what you'll do is you'll pick it from your Drive, and because you just created the assignment, it should be the first folder in your Drive. There it is, that feedback folder. So we're going to select this, and then that folder is now going to be uploaded into our DocAppender. Click Next, and then I'll pause until you do that step. From here, there's a little tricky step where you have to make sure you click Refresh List. It's just a little glitch in the app. I don't know why. Once you refresh the list, then you can select the question that DocAppender is going to put those Google Docs into. So we've pulled all those Google Docs into DocAppender from that feedback folder. Now we're going to put them in our name question. So that's the one you created earlier in your form. So you'll select name and then save and populate selected questions. Once you do that, you should see over to your left, there they go. All of your students' names are now populated into your Google form, so that when you're doing the feedback, all that you have to do is select who you're giving your feedback to, and then it will go to that doc. Pause your video until you complete this step. Okay, the next step is going to be selecting which questions that you want to have sent to that Google Doc. So here's some options. It'll always give the option if you want the timestamp on it, totally up to you. Chances are that you won't want the name on there because it's the student's name who's getting the feedback, and they already know their name and it's already on the docs. So you probably don't want that, but all the other questions you'll probably want to have. And then below that, you get a choice as to which style you want it to be put in. So I usually use rows in a single horizontal table. That just ends up being the best for large amounts of information because it'll only show you the questions once, but then it'll show you all the responses underneath. So once you've selected that, you click Enable, and your DocAppender is now set up. Pause your video until you've completed these steps. Okay, you are now ready to test your feedback. So you'll go to preview your Google form, that eyeball up there, and then we'll test for student A. So we're pretending like she is giving a speech or she's showing us a video we're watching, we're giving our feedback, we're filling our Google form as we go, and then we'll submit. It does typically take a minute or two for these responses to show up on DocAppender, so if it's not showing up right away, don't worry, you can refresh a couple times and it should be there. Let's go ahead and check. So back to Google Classroom. We'll open up the feedback and we'll look for student A. DocAppender organizes by first name alphabetical, Google Classroom usually in last name. So here's my student A. I'm going to open up her student feedback form. So each student has their own. And fingers crossed, the feedback should be, there it is. So here's her feedback, and these are the two responses I gave. Again, what I like about creating the horizontal view is that the question only appears once, and then the answers just list underneath it. Here's what it looks like when a lot of students are commenting. This is again on that how-to video feedback I did a couple weeks ago with my students. This is the feedback they were giving, and then each row below that is a different student from our class who was giving feedback. As soon as this student sat down from her presentation, she was able to open up that Google Doc and get the immediate feedback from her peers, which is so cool. And that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. There's a ton of ways that you could use this. Peer evaluations and feedback is just one. Maybe I'll post some other videos sometime about different ways to use this. But for now, let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you like it. And have a great rest of your day.